With Rob, literally when our signal went down, I mean, we just got walloped, and we're just going to walk with the camera to just give you a sense of how bad it's become now. Right now, we're underneath an awning here, but when you step out,
I mean, this is just incredible. Just the sheets of rain that are coming down across this area, and the rooftop on the structure that our equipment's taking shelter in is just pouring water out at what seems to be, a couple of 100 gallons per second. It's truly amazing the amount of water that Isaac is dumping on New Orleans right now.
Yeah, and we lost the signal. I mean, we think we had positioned the satellite truck pretty well there against the wall, protected from the wind. But with this heavy kind of rain, I mean, you got knocked off the air.
You do. It's a rain fade. It's the same rain fade that people get home that have satellite dishes in their home. We get it here to a lesser extent because our dish is bigger. But yeah, we're going to have some problems here going forward. And, peeking at the radar and listening to Chad, boy, we're in for it tonight. It keeps raining like this and raining sideways. It's no night to be out. And the people of New Orleans certainly have taken that advice and are staying indoors.
And Chad, in terms of where the band of the storm is this kind of representative of what it's going to be like during the night, or is this particularly bad?
This is particularly bad. You are in one of the worst outer bands so far. Now, there's still much more that will be more intense in about 6 hours when the eye gets closer to you. But right now, you are in the most intense outer band that we've seen so far. I can zoom right into New Orleans right there, and you see it kind of sliding in or slamming in from the south and southeast. And it's still going to get worse before it gets better in the next 15 minutes for both of you. So if you need to take cover, go ahead and do so, Ann.
We're right now over a roof, so that's water pouring off the roof. So I don't want people to think that's the rain. That's water pouring over the roof. But let's just walk around this way, around by where the satellite truck is, just to you really get a sense of how strong these winds are right now. As Chad pointed out, we're in this band, and it is just whipping the wind. And there's a lot of water on the ground, and it's this kind of water that can lead to flooding from the rain.
Yeah, just rainfall. Freshwater flooding is what we talk about. And here in New Orleans and outside the levee, we haven't really spoken too much about what's going on outside the protective levee of the city, which is 133 miles of reinforced stuff that's been built up since Katrina. But outside of that, in the lower lying parishes where there's been spotty mandatory evacuations, they're in a battle tonight, and they've been in many areas have had a sandbag and do it the old-fashioned way without the modern engineering that the Army Corps has offered up. So they're battling some of this rainfall and the storm surge tonight. We talked about the river, the lake level has risen since the storm has come on shore, and the rainfall is going to continue to come down. So freshwater flooding here in the city, and then freshwater flooding inland as well, and we can't forget our friends who live away from the coast. This is more than just a coastal event. We're going to see dramatic inland flooding as well.
And again, this is going to continue on throughout early tomorrow. Let's check in with Soledad, who's down in Jackson Square. Soledad, how is it there?
Yeah, same thing we're seeing here, Anderson, which are these sheets of driving rain just picking up in this band that Chad told us was coming, and now it's here, and the gusting winds as well. One of the things we're seeing in the last few minutes or so, I'd say the last 10 minutes, is this standing water for the first time. When the water was coming in, it was raining, and then it would stop, and it would rain, it would stop. That gave the water lots of time to clear. But now we're actually seeing, because the water's coming down so hard, it's actually beginning to stand, and that's an indication that this could be a problem. I think it's the standing water that you guys were talking about, because that's going to be a problem for the pumps and the drainage system as well. Earlier we also saw, when it wasn't quite so windy and the rain wasn't driving quite so hard, some people were walking around. Some of the bars are actually open, believe it or not, but actually, soon as it got a little tougher out here, folks have pretty much left the area. And you pointed out the police officers have been patrolling. We've seen the cars come through. They've been really tough about trying to get people out of these areas and trying to get them to go inside. As you can see, with the trees, we're a little concerned sometimes about some of the debris and things breaking off and coming our way, so we're trying to keep an eye on that, as well as the winds have picked up. Just as Chad promised with this outer band, the winds have picked up significantly. Anderson?
Should point out several thousand National Guard troops from Louisiana were mobilized. I saw them driving around in Humvees this morning down in the French Quarter when I was out running this morning. So there is a heavy police and law enforcement presence on the ground. You've seen it as well.
Absolutely. And there was anxiety a few days ago when we thought this might be a Category 2 or 3 storm. But there's always been this sense of control and calm over the city of New Orleans. I mean, there's been so much work done since